Being here on Monday night. I'm used to doing like 30-minute calls with my team, so I am going to keep this nice and packed but short so we have time for questions at the end. So just hang with me. It's not going to be a long, super long call, but it's going to be packed with information. So I just want to introduce myself. My name is Brittany Leggett. Like I said, I am the proud founder of my team, Dynasty United, one of Lindsay Matway's personally sponsored coaches. I'm a coach who went all in from the beginning. I started in January 2013, and my business has grown in a huge way because of that commitment to go all in. So I'm not going to talk about all that. Although I'm really proud of the hard work and the resiliency that has come within my journey, I'm most proud of my team, the Dynasty United. I'm most proud of us as a whole, of the culture that has been created there, and of the deep leadership that it has. I want to share a few things with you guys that I believe has really helped to create and just help guide our culture as a team, and I think also has helped the deep leadership, plant the deep roots of leadership in our downline. Something that I'm most proud of is that we have diamonds and star diamonds 5 levels down for a team that's only 18 months old. Is something that I'm really, really proud of. And, you know, duplication is at the heart of this business, is really what determines who is successful. And so duplication says a lot. So if I can pass on any of that to you guys, I'll be super happy. So hang tight with me as we sort of talk about team culture and generational leadership, meaning leadership down in the downline as we go. Just make sure you guys type every so often if you can. Sometimes my internet cuts out, so I want to make sure you guys still can hear me okay. All right, perfect. Thank you, Sydney. So first of all, team culture. What does that look like? What are the key attributes? Like, you might be saying, I don't really have a team, I'm a brand new coach, or I have my husband signed up under me and that's it. That's fine, but you still need to be thinking about what your team culture is going to be, because you are going to have a team like Lindsay at some point that is thousands and thousands and thousands of people big. So what does the team culture, what does your ideal team culture look like? What are the key attributes and what makes you proud? For me, for Dynasty United, the cornerstones of our team are community, resiliency, integrity, and tenacity. Those are what make me proud about our team. That is what, at the end of the day, if we're doing that, it doesn't matter what the money looks like, it doesn't matter what the success club points look like. To me, that is incredibly fulfilling, and to me, that's something I know I can be really proud of. So just remember that it starts with you. So whatever your list of attributes is for your team, take a good long look at that and make sure that you're doing your best to act those out first. So that's what I mean by team culture. What does your team look like? When you look at your team name or your, whatever it is, your team, what does that represent? And if you haven't thought about that, I do encourage you to think about that. Start that ball to roll. So here I want to challenge you to be the top coach. Let Melanie move aside. Be the top coach for the next 30 days. I want to challenge you, you can be the top coach of the next 30 days of all of August, or the last 2 days of July, or whatever it is, 3 days of July. Be the top coach. Invite people to join. Be confident and act out what you look at as a perfect scenario in your team, something that you can be so proud of. Act those things out. Be that coach. Be that top coach for the next 30 days. You won't have influence as a leader until you model for your team. Until you become the model for your team, no one's going to be influenced by you. And that's something that I learned. So you have to choose to go first as a leader, which you all probably heard before if you like John Maxwell. You have to be the model. So to me, being the model is what helps develop that team culture. You have to leave it all on the table. Okay, it's what, July 28th. We have 3 days left in July. Your team is looking to you, or your future team is looking to you to see, what is Erica doing right now? Is she throwing in the bag and just, piling some options up for August, or is she treating July in such a way that she's not going to be able to try or give or do a fingernail more? They're going to be looking at you. So make sure that you are leaving it all on the table every single month, every single day, every single week, however you want to gauge it. And the only way to prove that, you're going to hate me, but the only way to prove that you are leaving it all on the table is to track your efforts. So I'm talking about the business activity tracker, or I'm talking about your own tracker, whatever it is. As a leader, to be the model to your team, you have to be able to gauge what you're doing, gauge your efforts, track your behavior. So go first day in and day out. And that's what the leader has to do, because your team is going to watch that. Your non-existent team, or your team of 2 or 3 people who never respond, or whatever the situation is for you, they're looking for a model, someone who removes the distractions from their life and gets really focused on the behaviors that are going to move their business forward. When no one else is watching, or you don't think anybody else is watching, who's doing the things that are really unattractive? Who's doing the real discipline? Leaders are held at a higher standard than the rest of the team, and that's just life. So make sure you step up to that, and then you also recognize the people who are stepping up with you. So as a leader, just go ahead and embrace it, that you're going to be held to a higher standard. Doing your BAT, or inviting when nobody's watching, or doing your workout when nobody's watching, whatever it means for you. Hold yourself to that standard and remove the distractions from your life and from your business activities. Make sure that you build trust with your team. In order to build trust, you have to care about your team's well-being. You have to care about that brand new coach that signed up with you, or that coach that signed up with you 4 months ago and hasn't done a darn thing. Whatever it is, you have to care about their well-being and care about their results, and then the trust will come. So make sure that you're focused on building trust with your team, not just results, or not just success code points or challengers in the challenge group. Build trust with your team. Sponsor quality coaches in a quality way. So just pay attention to the kind of people you're attracting into your business. And when they're quality people, when you really believe in them as a coach, as a potential coach, or whatever it is, give them your quality. Give them quality time. So quality people deserve quality time. So coach them in a quality way. The next thing I want to talk about is, if you want to be successful, I believe you'll do the following. You'll rearrange your time. You'll be consistent. You'll have a daily agenda. And you'll learn how to connect with people. We have all, at least at this point, we have all either heard all the excuses that can exist, or we have tried to give all the excuses that exist. But the bottom line is, if you want to be successful, it doesn't matter how much time you have in the day, how many hours you work, what your bank account looks like, how many kids you feed at home. None of that matters. If you want to be successful, you will rearrange your time. So, the law of consistency, which is John Maxwell's law, talks about a lot of things, but one of my takeaways is, the only way to be great at anything is to be consistent with something. And so that goes with building your team and building your team culture. It takes repetition. It takes consistent investment in your team in order for them to see that you're a real leader, that you're not going to give up on them. So make sure that you're consistent. And that law of consistency, that act of being consistent, is very thankless for a long time, and you just have to be okay with that, because it takes time for people to see what you're doing for you to gain influence. The second thing I want to kind of touch on is that secret. The secret to success is in your daily agenda, and so that goes with tracking your behaviors, whether it's a business activity tracker or whatever it is. The secret to success is in your daily agenda. So write it down. Katie just shared a motivational video in one of our groups, and it was great. And it's a Jim Rohn speech, and he's talking about writing things down. And it's true, you cannot gauge your success or your effort without writing it down. So have a pen and paper. Have a to-do list. You don't have to do that. I don't really care what you use, to be honest. It could be the back of a receipt for all I care, but you have to track your behavior. Not perfectly, but consistently. And in that daily agenda, in that daily tracking, gauging, that's where success comes, because then you're self-evaluating, you're seeing where you can improve, you're seeing where your most worthwhile time is being spent. But to work smarter and to gain traction and to gain momentum, you have to self-evaluate and you have to track. So the last thing that I've been reading about and learning about is really the secret success tool is your ability to connect with people. That's the #1 success tool. And so the better you are able to connect with people, the better you are able to connect them with their dreams, to help motivate them and support them, et cetera, et cetera. The more you're going to build trust with them if you can connect with them. So you are better able to do, this goes along with your daily agenda, but you are better able to do essential things every day than big things on some days. So I'll say that again. It's better for you to do essential things on a to-do list or whatever it is every single day rather than big things on some days. And so I think that's what some people get into the habit of doing, where they invite 20 people or they friend request 25 people all in one day, which, you know, good for them, I guess. But honestly, most times that's how someone gets blocked from Facebook friend requesting versus the person who's a steady Eddie and is doing 3 to 5 new contacts every day and consistently, you know, chops down that tree consistently every single day instead of like, oh, shoot, I forgot to invite for the last 15 days. I'll just mass invite. And then it, you know, catches up on you and it sort of bites you in the butt. So, you know, just remember that it's better to do essential things every single day than big things on Sundays. And the secret to success is in the daily agenda. So talking about growth and team culture, and I guess, you know, when we're talking about environment in this situation, my brain kind of goes to Facebook pages. So this is kind of where my brain is at when I'm thinking about environment. But I love this sort of, this whole slide really is sort of the essence of where my effort is placed when I'm trying to invest in Dynasty United as a team. Growth thrives in the right environment. So, you know, ask yourself, this is a list of 10 things here that I truly do. These are truly the things that are my vision for Dynasty United. And my goal is to help to recreate these 10 things in the team Facebook page. So, you know, #1, I want it to be an environment where others are ahead of me, even me personally as the leader. So I want people to be at different spots in their business and their growth and their strengths. #2, somewhere that I'm continually challenged. I want my coaches to be continually challenged. #3, where the focus is always forward. #4, the atmosphere is encouraging and affirming. #5, where you are out of your comfort zone, but in your gift or your strength zone, which is what John Maxwell says. So you're constantly out of your comfort zone, but you're still focused on your strengths. #6, where you wake up excited. That growth is going to thrive in that environment, where failure is not the enemy, where others are growing, sort of ties up to #1. #9 is where people desire to change. And #10, where growth is modeled for you. So that's where we step in as the leader. And as we highlight other leaders in the group, we recognize the behaviors that we want repeated. So whether that is another leader in your downline stepping up and doing things, or, you know, I personally feel that a quality post is just as significant as 5 Success Club points. So I share that a lot. I share when I see coaches share great, valuable posts. And so recognizing those behaviors that you want repeated in order for them to see success is really important for developing a team culture. So I guess you could ask yourself, just as a call to action, a quick little call to action in the middle of this call, what does your team Facebook page look like? You might not agree with all 10 of these, but what are your 10? What kind of environment is needed for your team to grow and to thrive? And make sure you implement that. Make sure you ask yourself, are people, you know, focusing forward? Is failure the enemy? You know, are other people growing, and is that being recognized? So that's that. Growth thrives in the right environment, and recognize the behaviors that you want repeated. Again, this takes time. You know, this is a compound effect. This takes time of recognizing these behaviors over and over and over again. Okay, let's talk about a nightmare. So I learned this from John Maxwell as well. I think it was last year at Summit. You know, the worst nightmare for a coach is big dreams plus a bad team. And there's not bad people, of course. They're not bad people, but, you know, we all kind of have felt when the team is just not good. There's not good mojo. It's just sort of a drag. And so that's a nightmare, right? You have big dreams, you have a bad team. So as a reminder, we attract who we are. You attract you. So I want you to ask yourself, when you're thinking about who you're working with and who you're spending your time with, I want you to ask yourself first, can they? And if the answer is yes, they can do this business. They can make change. They can be a good leader. They can succeed in this business. If the answer is yes, then don't let them go, because that's a matter of ability, and they have the ability. But after you ask yourself, can they, you have to ask yourself, will they? And when you ask yourself, will they do X, Y, or Z, and the answer is no, then you have to let them go fast, because that's an attitude issue. And you or nobody else can change that but them. So this goes along the lines of working with the willing. So if they have the ability, then absolutely work with them, fight tooth and nail, invest in them. But when you ask that second question, will they, and the answer is no, they're not willing, then let them go really quickly. Don't waste good energy on someone who doesn't want to travel with you. That's hard to do, especially as we have friends in the business or whatever, but you can't pull anybody along. I've tried, and you can't want it more than they want it. So if it's a matter of attitude, then you have to let them go really quickly and move forward. Once you model for your team, you know, leadership and growth and success and resiliency, all these things that you want in your team culture, once you model that for your team, that's when the team starts to show their commitment level, because they've been watching you. But it takes time in order to gain influence, and they have to see you be the model. And this is not my quote. This is John Maxwell's quote again. I mean, you probably could have guessed. But my best time is for people who are doing their best. And that, you know, you've heard Lindsay Matway say, I work with the willing, et cetera, et cetera. It's the same thing. It's my best time is for people who are doing their best. And I believe in order to create a thriving culture in your team, you have to stick with this. You can't waste good energy on someone who doesn't want to travel with you. Okay, next section, I want to talk about generational leadership. To me, meaning leadership deep down in the downline. And so you might have a young team like me, and you might not. But from my perspective, I still have a younger team. And like I shared with you earlier, I'm incredibly proud to see 5 and 6 levels down developing diamonds and star diamonds. And I believe that there's a few things that we have done together as a team that has helped this community thrive. So again, when I say generational leadership, I mean helping develop leaders multiple levels deep. So the first tip I want to share with you is to know your downline. That's a common question I get about my team push to I hate that word, but we went for 5-star diamond last year. And that is something that is common asked of me, what we did, how we did it, et cetera, et cetera. And I do believe one of the biggest things that I did as a sponsor is I knew the downline. I knew Miranda's coaches, I knew Candace's coaches, I knew Megan's coaches, Chris's coaches, and Caitlin's coaches. And that's not because I'm awesome or anything. It's just from looking at the sponsorship drill down and learning and talking to the coach. So know your downline. Know who people are, who's a discount, you know, like invest a little bit, know who these people are. Now, when your downline gets to be humongous, you can't possibly do that, for sure. But you will be able to know the leaders in your downline. You will be able to know who is sticking out and who is pushing to the point every month that they can't do a fingernail more. Those are the people you should know. You should know their name. As a leader, no matter how many levels down, you should know their name. And you should do your best to recognize that behavior. So that's what I mean by know your downline. Make the effort to get to know the people who are meeting their upline halfway. You know, be willing to partner with all coaches on the team. This is especially important for me as a young team who had big dreams. oftentimes there's coaches who join the team and then they sign up coaches a week later, and they're sort of both learning together. So instead of leaving that coach, to sort of wait it out, just be willing to partner with all coaches and to help all coaches as much as you can. Of course, you have to respect your time with your family, and you have to put boundaries on it at some point, but as far as partnering with people who are newbies, when they sign up with newbies, you have to, I believe a good leader will reach down the downline and will partner with all coaches. Now, at the same time, this is the balance I think that you have to find as the leaders. You have to figure out a way to not overshadow that person's leader. So make sure you edify or lift up, put the spotlight on their leader. Highlight the things that they're doing really well, so that they will eventually be seen as the leader. But it's important to be the bridge in the beginning between the new sponsor and the new coach. So come alongside that leader, whether it's three-way calls or inclusion in sneak peeks or challenge group hosting or training groups or whatever it is. Come alongside that leader and their new coach, but help both of them. Help both of them on their journey. Do whatever it takes to help them, because a leader that lacks confidence has a team that lacks confidence and commitment. So when let me say that again, when the leader lacks confidence, which often new sponsors do, when the leader lacks confidence, then the team lacks commitment. And so as the upline or whatever it is, as the person who's been in a little bit longer, as Katie says, do whatever you can to help build that rising leader's confidence. And so that might be a few things, but for me, in my team, that has been to recognize what their teams are doing. Don't ever take credit. Of course you wouldn't, but just as a reminder, like it's not because of me that so-and-so has great coaches. It's because of them. They are attracting those people. So always recognize what their teams are doing. Always point that coach back to their sponsor. Give them public compliments on their leadership style or what they're doing. Really that's what I mean by like edifying the leader, putting a spotlight on the leader. Even if it's something that's like kind of small in comparison to maybe other things, it's big to them, and they're just starting on their journey as a leader. So pay attention to what they're doing, and that compliment can mean a great deal to that person who's just like getting their feet wet with leadership. When they receive a public compliment from their upline, it can mean the world to them. And on the other side of it, it means the world to their team. It gives their team more confidence in the leader that is leading them, if that makes sense. So, public confidence boosts the morale and the confidence of the leader, but it also helps their team feel just more a part of it, feel more proud to be a part of that person's team. So I believe that that's our role as the upline, to really shine light on what that leader is doing and publicly announce that. Now, again, on the last couple of slides, I said, if you want to be successful, you will rearrange your time. And so these things, they take time, for sure. It's a sacrifice to learn the downline, to take a minute to recognize someone in the downline who's doing well, or to give a public shout out on, Facebook or a team page or whatever. It takes time. But again, if you want to be, successful, you'll do whatever it takes. You will rearrange your time. So again, recognize what their teams are doing. Never take credit for their teams. Always, help them take ownership of what they're doing and who they're leading. And then, help the rising leader step up as a leader, but stay connected to the mother branch. And to me, help them rise up to leadership, but also make sure that they're included in the big team. So for me, that's Bombshell Dynasty. I will always pay tribute to Lindsay and to the Bombshell Dynasty, because without her, I wouldn't be here. And without her, Dynasty United wouldn't exist. Without her, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I do believe that that's incredibly, incredibly important. And I also want my leaders to feel that way when they bring people into the business. I want them not to pat themselves on the back and say, oh, it's because of me you're doing this, but that gratitude is important. So I encourage, and I always want to pay tribute to the mother branch. And to me, Bombshell Dynasty is the mother branch you guys might be in a different spot, but, Lindsay's my coach, and so because of Lindsay, I'm here. So I think it's really important and a powerful display of leadership when somebody can say that instead of just taking all the credit for themselves. Although they do deserve a lot of credit for what they've built, I just think that it's that attitude of gratitude is really important. So speaking about that, I think it's key to highlight that sense of gratitude because it helps to create an environment where people are working together, and I think it's just an environment where people are better able to thrive together. And I also think it encourages that abundance mindset of like, I'm not nervous to like give credit to my upline because so-and-so will just go to my upline for help or for an example. I'm not worried about that. I'm confident in my leadership, and I want my team to know that I'm thankful and that I do want to pass that on to my team for them to do the same thing. So, branching off in this business is inevitable. For sure, especially if you're building. If you're building a team and you're taking this to the top or whatever it is, if you're taking this to your family's dreams, branching off is inevitable. But I believe you should be focused more on leading and less on leaving. So don't worry so much about being separate and having your own spotlight and all that stuff. If you just focus on leading, the rest will take care of itself. It'll happen on its own. And you won't have an environment of competition or of people, like doing their best to rush into the spotlight. There'll be room for everybody, and there's room for everybody at the top. So an attitude of gratitude, I believe, has been a huge part of my team's culture, and that I hope and pray will continue on. So, like I said before, beware not to overshadow the sponsoring coach, but rather to partner with them and to talk to them, communicate with them about how you can help them and help provide an opportunity to lead. Don't just push them out of the nest. So for me, I occasionally, like, if there's a new coach who's just starting to add to the team, I allow them to put their coaches into my coach training group. It's not going to be forever. It's like that saying, I don't know exactly what the saying is, but like, your kid's not going to like have a pacifier when they're in college, so like if they're really going to build this business, like they're going to build the business. It's all right to like help them out a little bit. It's all right to partner with them, but also to make sure that you're highlighting them as the leader, even though absolutely you probably are doing most of the work, but it's teaching that coach to do the same for their team, which will do the same for their team, which will do the same for their team. So again, it is a sacrifice of time. It is an investment of time, but I believe it's fully worth it. And so I think if you're truly invested in your team's success, that you will meet them halfway. When they're moving, when they're willing to travel with you, you will see that they're willing to fight with you. They are willing to go to bat with you. They will do a 5-star push with you or a 15-star push with you or whatever it is because you went to bat for them and you truly were invested in their success. And that could mean that you invest some of your time. So to me, that is the essence of generational leadership, is knowing the downline, highlighting the leader, but coming alongside and being willing to reach down in the downline to encourage and to honestly love. You can, what is that saying, that you can love somebody without leading them, but you can't lead them without loving them. And so to me, that's what that means to me in my group. Most of us are girls, but so that works. But like loving my team means spending time with them, means spending time, focused time, figuring out what it will take to encourage them, to motivate them, and to support them. So like I said, you can't be doing this if you're just mindlessly scrolling on Facebook. Remember what I said before is you have to be focused with your time, and you have to be diligent with tracking your time, engaging your time. That way you will have more time to reach down the downline, if that makes sense. It won't be, you won't be so, you won't have all your time wasted in doing things that don't matter and feeling stressed, because you will be focused on your time and you'll be able to reach more into your downline, into your team, and to really help equip leaders who are just rising up. So that, right on time, 9:31. So I'm going to open it up for questions. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for listening to my spiel here about leadership and team culture. Happy to take any questions, but like I said, I'm used to 30-minute calls in and out, so I want to respect that, but I will open it up for any questions that you guys might have. You're welcome, guys. Thanks for being here. What tips do you have for inviting coaches? Do you mean inviting them to the business, Alana? I think she means, I'm trying to find the comment. I think she means, how do I invite coaches? Honestly, I think, Alana, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you're saying, how do you invite coaches into the business? Depends. You know, a lot of people prefer the way of allowing them to be challengers first to get results and to build belief in the product, and then plant the seed, asking them if they've ever considered coaching, that they're inspiring people in their life, that, you know, maybe you should, you know, I see attributes in you that I believe would make you a good coach. Have you ever considered it? And then also, Alana, I believe that if you're, I know Lindsay Stay is, and I know I am too, I know a lot of us are, I think Shay is too, but, you know, I think if you're passionate about the business, you can lead with the business opportunity. You know, Alana, share where this train is headed and tell them that you're excited about it, and tell them what you're doing, what your plans are. Whether you have small successes or large successes doesn't really matter as long as you share successes. And again, just be confident, and the excitement is a catalyst for success. How do you recommend creating the culture in your group if you don't have an active team yet? Nicole, I would get just really clear about things that you have liked in whether the Bombshell Dynasty or maybe other teams that you've sort of been around. Come up with what the team culture is that you want for your team, and start building it, start being that yourself. You know, for me, it's like community. It's important to me that our team feels a sense of community. And so that means me going to our team page and welcoming every single new coach every single time. So to me, that's important. It takes time. And sure, you know, half of the coaches might not last a month or whatever, but it's important to me. And so I would recommend doing the same thing, like figure out a list of attributes that you want in your team and start acting those things out. And that culture will be the normal. That will be the norm for your team as coaches join you. What do you tell people that you do for a living? I say that I'm an online health and fitness coach. Sometimes I say I'm in network marketing. Alexa, just sort of depends. But online health and fitness is sort of my go-to. Any advice for newer coaches? Erica, yeah, I have some advice. Plug into the team. So you're here on team call, so that's good. And don't give up. Don't ever give up, because it's worth it. It's worth it to stick with it. And read personal development. So those 3 vital behaviors are there for a reason. So don't overcomplicate it. Just get the 3 vital behaviors down consistently and trust the process. And make sure you're reading personal development and you're connected to the team, connected to the mother branch. Can you explain what you mean by push for 5-star? Kim, what I meant, I just don't like the term push because it seems so forced. But my team and I, in August of last year, decided that we wanted to go for 5-star as a team, meaning I would be the 5-star diamond coach, and I would help 5 people on my team become diamonds. 5-star is the requirement for an elite coach, so we decided to go for that. So when I say push, I just mean we work together for all 5 of them to be diamonds and to hold on to diamond for a certain period of time. Okay, answered that. Just looking through questions really quick. When you were a full-time nurse for the first 4 months, how many hours would you say you put into Team Beachfire? I really respect, Megan, that you knew that about me. Thank you. So when I was working as a full-time nurse when I first became a coach for the first 3 to 4 months. So my schedule looked like depending on where I was working, the hospital or the clinic, 8 to 12 hours, and then I would come home for 1 to 2 hours every night. I would work on my business. Saturdays I'd work like 3 or 4, and Sundays I'd work 3 or 4. So it was still pretty, it was pretty consistent, 2 hours or so on the weeknights, and then on the weekends 3 to 4 hours every weekend. Okay, answer that. I'm having a tough time teaching my coaches to get coaches. Have any advice for that? Kristen, first, I think something that's always stuck with me that Lindsay and other top coaches have said is the speed of the leader is the speed of the pack. So I would make sure that you yourself are adding to the team consistently because that's what they will follow. And then also I think it's important to show them the benefit of Emerald or Ruby or whatever it is, whatever their goal is, show them the benefit of it. So actually show them customer leads in your back office, or maybe a commission from a lead, or just, the importance of helping people, how that people need this opportunity. This is truly a gift of an opportunity. And so, to share that with other people truly is, I feel, a responsibility of ours so that people have that option to do this same thing for their family. John, you progressed so quickly. What was your main focus in your first couple of months as a new coach? My main focus, I hope I don't sound too cheesy, but honestly, my main focus was the 3 vital behaviors. Like I've said before, my husband and I, we were in San Diego at the time, so every every Monday night at the same time, we had dinner, listening to Lindsay's voice on the team call during dinner at 6 o'clock in San Diego. Other than that, it was inviting, being a product of the product, and reading personal development. It really honestly was. Progressing so quickly, I honestly think it's because I tracked my behavior and I didn't give up. I knew for sure what I was doing and why I was doing it. My why was very real. My reason was very real from the beginning. And so I looked at that every day. I visualized, and I honestly think that that is what helped me move quickly. I see that question a couple times. I hope you heard my answer. Is there such a thing as too much excitement? I don't want to come off as cheesy, but I am excited about this business. Well, Sydney, I mean, there is that, that thing called that we've all done is like too much. You just like spew too much Beachbody at once. So I do think that there's an art to the invitation process, that you don't overwhelm somebody with information. So definitely be aware of what that other person's vibes are in conversation. But as far as you with being excited, I absolutely do not think that there's too much excitement. More excitement, the better, as long as, Sydney, you stay consistent. Because if people see you all excited, and then in a week you're like, oh, Beachbody's a scam or whatever, obviously that wouldn't be good. So, just, be excited. Like, if that's you, then be you, and that's totally okay. How do you invite friends that you think would make great coaches but haven't even tried the product yet, or do you wait till they try the product? Erica, I personally don't wait till they try the product. If I think that they would be a great coach, then I invite them. And perfect example of that is one of my best friends, Erica Johnson. I invited her like as soon as I joined, and she wasn't ready, and so she said no until like 6 months later. And then she was ready. Then she joined. Now she's a star diamond, making one of the highest paychecks on my team. So it just takes time. But as far as inviting people before the product, no, I don't think they have to have the product first. But I do think they have to have the product when they sign up, so that they can be a product of the product. No, I don't normally say I'm a Beachbody coach. It might turn into that. If they ask more questions, I'll say, oh, do you know P90X or Insanity? It's with that company, Beachbody. I'm a Beachbody coach. But right off the bat, I usually say online health and fitness. Best system to keep everything organized, a good system. Oh, I don't know about that. I have a to-do list. I use the business activity tracker, and I use the back of my notebook for my names of people who weren't ready to commit. I write their name down so that I can follow up with them the next month. How many hours do you think you put into while you were a nurse? I can't answer that. What does a typical day look like for you? How many hours do you spend building? Nicole, I do this full time, so I spend a lot of time working. I work my tail off for sure. I would say on any given day, it's at least 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, and then many days it's 10 hours. But you have to consider, like, what is work. You know, for me, like, talking on the phone with some of my best friends about their business is work, you know, or making things on PicMonkey is work. So I guess it sort of depends. I'm not behind my computer for 10 hours a day, but I work a lot, and I'm willing to work as much as possible in order to, you know, achieve my family's goals in the long run. So while it's work, it's not sitting staring at a computer, if that makes sense. Okay, I'm scrolling quickly. The 2 to 4 hours that I worked when I was still working full-time did include team calls. I was a nurse for 7 years before Beachbody full-time. See. Olivia, if you haven't received leads, you need to call Coach Relations and ask why. It might be an issue with your, you know, with your Team Beachbody profile. Oh, there you go. Good job, good job. Okay. All right, you guys, I think that might be, okay, wait, do you find most of your coaches and customers coming from your Facebook, blogging, or YouTube? I believe most of my coaches have come from my personal Facebook page. I don't blog consistently, I just sort of dabble in it. YouTube is my only other, like, real commitment. So between Facebook and YouTube, those are my two outlets for social media. All right, guys, I think, oh, personal question, do you ever miss nursing? Yes, I do, actually. Sometimes I do miss nursing, Megan, and I don't know if it's Megan or Megan, but I will keep my nursing license active, but honestly, just for medical missions in the future, just for fun. I don't miss a lot of it. I miss, you know, some parts of it, which you can probably imagine what you can miss, some of the fun stuff, but in general, though, of course, Beachbody is most definitely more fulfilling and more rewarding. But I do miss parts of it for sure. For those who are not completely transformed, I'm still in the mix of my transformation. Serena, I think that's wonderful. I mean, I joined as a coach 2 weeks into my transformation, so I had no transformation really. So my advice to you is to keep going with your transformation and share your progress and invite people to come along with you. Does that answer that question? All right, you guys, I think that is all. Thank you guys for staying with us. It's 9:45, so we're going to call it quits, and I'll post the recording in the team pages, you guys. Thank you guys for being here. Bye.